Good afternoon, Eamon here from Ashland Farms. You're all very, very welcome, and thanks for tuning in again. Another video on retirement. I suppose today I'm going to talk a very, very important part of retirement, and that is in connection with relationships and friendships and companionship. But before we get into that, I'd like for people to subscribe and share and give me the thumbs up or a thumbs down on my channel. Again, thanks to everybody that at the minute, I'm just readjusting my, this is probably make it better, that's better, yeah. That's it, yeah. Readjusting my screen there so that I get a better shot. Again, thanks to everybody that tunes in. Okay, when we talk about companionship, relationships, and all the rest, and I suppose it's certainly a thought going through my mind. And okay, when you're working in maybe whatever you're a guard or a teacher, or you're working in a factory, or a mechanic, or a lorry driver, or a shopkeeper, or a computer person, or I don't know, whatever job you want to go into, solicitor or doctor. You have other colleagues working alongside you, and you have other people that you became friendly with down through the years. And there's probably some people you felt like maybe going for a drink after work on a Friday evening, or having a chat with them, or if you're sharing your stories about their families or whatever, or whether it was over at the coffee breaks or lunchtime or a tea break, that you could chat and talk to them. And you got friendly with them. Now, granted, there's probably some people you work with that you couldn't wait to get away from. But now, when you have retired and walked out there, they maybe are still working or have retired as well. But it could be from a different part of town, a different county, and the opportunity of meeting is not as easy as it was when you were working. Weeks and months could go by before you could see them again. And maybe, it's like, maybe it's only at a college funeral that you maybe see them again. But when you walk out of that job, and you're there maybe for 20, 30, 40 years, you're leaving a big section of your life. You're working there 8, 10 hours a day, for 40 years. You calculate that amount of time you spent there. And the build up on the connections and friends and colleagues, they're no longer there now. So how do you replace them? Or how are you able to keep up a relationship or a connection with them? Maybe there was a club or an organisation that you did went bowling or went playing snooker or shooting or playing darts or, going, maybe meeting up for coffees on a Wednesday or a Thursday or whatever to keep up to speed. There's a lot of things like that. And they are things that need to be developed as well. I know there's a good friend of mine or a colleague of mine, he has died since, but there was 5 or 6 of them working together, and they used to always go out for a drink on a Saturday or Friday evening and a meal. And they continued that on even when they were retired. But unfortunately, one after another, they died. I think, Jim or Dad, I think there's maybe only one left now. But that's, the last that died was near 90 years of age. So, they got a good few years out of that. So that's something you need to plan and look at. And where I find as well, if you join organisations, you meet up with a whole pile of new people with new interests. I see a sister of mine is doing Meals on Wheels, and she's involved in a French club, and she's met up with new people. She might know them by name, I might know them passing, but hadn't any opportunity really to meet them. And look at them now as, a different light and enjoying one another's companies and enjoying, sharing their hobbies with them or their charity work or whatever. And because none of us is an island, it's very hard for us to be able to live on our own. and to look at how you, because I mean, I believe like organizations is a brilliant way to build up friends and make new contacts. Let it be whatever organization you want to do. And there's another way too, and that's the men's shed, garden club. You know, when we go fishing, there's more ways than going down to the pub and sitting up and reading the paper and going to the bookies, where I see a lot of men doing. And that's not a particularly healthy way to carry on your life. So you need to look at where your friendships is and how you're able to keep the old friendships and how you make friends with the new ones. And the recipe in danger that happens is you're married or you're divorced or separated. But we'll just talk about you're married for a minute. And maybe you're married for the last 30, 40 years. And your wife is so used of doing things, and she had her friends with, let it be work or a full-time mum or whatever she was. Or you were the husband and you're the wife, and now the husband has his own friends. That you feel a little bit locked out and you don't feel that you have the same thing in common that you had when you're dating. And it's very hard to generate that energy and that attraction and that love that you had when you got married first, and that you could spend every minute together. You didn't need anybody, you know, only a couch or a bed or, you know, go for a walk or whatever you did, you know, or a good film on TV to cuddle up with one another and look at it. It's different now. You go into a house of our age group, one is sitting on one side of the fire, the other side of the fire, or maybe in two different rooms, not even sharing the one television. That can be a bit lonely. There's no point in people need their own lives and their own rooms, their own this, but that can become lonely and it can cause depression. And there's a lot of that depression and loneliness out there. So what I want to do is try to prevent that. And the way you help to prevent that is stay active. Stay connected to other people. And maybe if you feel a bit down with that, talk to somebody about it. Not maybe necessarily your wife or your husband. They mightn't understand and say, I should go on, have a vodka or have a drink, or, you know, you're grand. Life is good, sure, have me wonderful, have me plenty of money, we have a lovely car, we have a nice house. Why are you depressed? Maybe talk to somebody outside. And if not, definitely go and get help. I'm not saying pills is the right thing, but there's various different ways, you know, and good well-being books to read as well. And good positive things to look, you know, at the positives in life. And don't always look, you know, people say, oh, that's a shocking wet day. Jeez, you know, it's very depressing to look out. And especially coming on now in the next couple of months when you get into the dark times of the year, November and December and January, and you wake up in the morning, it's dark, and it's dark at 4 o'clock in the evening, that'll depress you. Not if you look at the beauty within that darkness. Look at the positives in it. Brilliant opportunity maybe to start a hobby like reading, going to the library, picking out a book, reading a good story, learning some sort of craft work, learning something to do with your hands, learning, you know, to play bingo, play bridge, you know, snooker, something to get active. In those dark days, don't just sit down and build up your friendships and your friends, because that's very, very important in your retirement, that you stay in contact. Your wife or partner or girlfriend or boyfriend might necessarily be enough. Your sons or daughters or your grandchildren mightn't be enough. Sometimes you need women friends or men friends. And particularly if you were a widower or widow or separated or even a single person. It's so important that you stay in touch and look at ways and places that you can meet friends. And I'm telling you, there's no better way than in organisations. It's down to the years I've been involved in organisations and have plenty of contacts and friends. And I see people that gives back something to society gets 10 times more. So for us to get something, we need to give. And you can say, oh shit, the neighbours down there never come into you. When did you go to your neighbours? When did you go and visit somebody? Actually, that person never phones you. When did you phone them? Let you lead and others follow. Change yourself and you can change the world. Stay active, stay in touch. Eamon from Ashland Farms, signing off.